I'm Nick Moen, and today I'm joined by Michal Butler, Director of Operations at Vision Dental Partners. Vision's grown from one location to nine across multiple states fast. So I want to talk about how Michal and her team built scalable systems, kept culture intact, and made sure patients still feel like family as they grow. Let's get into it. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Okay, well, just on the tip of my tongue, nine practices in just a few
Mhm.
years, that's a huge feat, right? So what's one moment that made you realize, okay, this is working, and why?
I think you mentioned something just a little bit ago about culture and tact. Culture is something that we're always working on. I don't think you're ever done with it because, everybody's different in the way they receive information and you have to lead people differently, just whether it's a different practice manager or a front desk. But I think what's working is we stay consistent with it, right? We're always focused on our core values. We always have conversations around them. We actually do quarterly reviews, things like that, so that the teams feel like they're all connected. Because our practices are in such different locations, it makes it easy to do quarterly reviews because then everybody kind of knows what's going on in the company every 90 days versus just like once a year type thing. So that's been super helpful for us in keeping the good culture and less turnover because we're always like having the checkpoints and check-ins with our team members.
Yeah, well, and
Mhm.
I mean, kind of your background, yeah,
Mhm.
I'd love to hear a little bit about that because that must inform the fact that you're like, all right, we need quarterly reviews, and this is the culture that you want as, director of operations across the practice.
Mhm.
What is your background?
My background, like just in general, I actually came from ortho. I worked in ortho for 13 years, and I was an assistant. So it was a little bit different. When I started working for Dr. Hughes, I started working for him in 2013, literally like 2 months after I had open heart surgery. I knew nothing about dental. I just basically sat there and just answered the phones because I was still fresh off of surgery. I learned so much from that just by, I mean, when you go from assisting to actually like working with patient and patient accounts and you're on the phone with them, it's there's a huge difference with that because it's all about the money and everybody ties a feeling to the money, right? Money is an emotional thing. People make emotional buying decisions. So and dentistry, I mean, like people don't wake up and say, oh my God, I can't wait to go to my dental office. So you do have to have the right people in place. But I literally started off like working, just answering the phones for a short term until I started getting to know dental more. And how I learned it fast was he put me in a back office for like 6 months and I worked on aging. I didn't get to talk to people for a while, but I literally worked on the aging that entire time and I learned so much about insurance. I learned so much where so when I was able to come up front and talk to a patient about their account, I already knew what I was talking about. And that helped because then they start to have that confidence in you, like you know what you're doing, because that's tied to their bank account. And then I went from 6 years of doing that to literally the director of operations. I feel like I skipped a role because, he came to me and said, hey, I want to buy another practice. Are you in? And I was like, yeah. And we literally bought the second one October 9th of 2019. I remember the day. And, and we just kept growing from there, and we learned some things along the way. But I think for me, I care about people, including team members, and I don't just only focus on that patient experience, but when you over deliver and create value to your patients, you need to make sure you're doing that with your teams as well.
Yeah. And so, what is the vision of Vision Dental? Like, right? So, what is that cultural aspect that sets y'all apart that you, starting from the front desk and working through every aspect of the business, like, what do you keep in mind as you're doing that?
If you've ever listened to Dr. Hughes's LinkedIn post and all the other posts that he's on, he talks a lot about us being a media company that just happens to do dentistry. We want to make our doctors the rock stars in their communities. We want to be able to show our team members. We want them to be influenced by their personalities, and things like that. But I think the biggest thing for culture is that what you asked me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, is the constant, the check-ins, the touch points, the quarterly reviews. We have quarterly reviews where our Jason, the HR director, goes in, and so does Dr. Hughes. He'll go in and do reviews and talk to the doctors and teams as well. But you can feel like you're on your own little island and alone if you don't keep your team members together and they don't feel like they're a part of something. They just work for a DSO, right? Where people have that, like, they think it's a dirty word. But, every model is different. We like our model because it works for the patients, over delivering, creating value to patients. But I also have monthly check ins with my practice managers. We have meetings already scheduled out. I have a biweekly operations meeting with all my front desk. There's meetings with hygienists or assistant, like everybody has meetings for check-ins. And it's important to have the meeting scheduled, because if you're just calling somebody and being like, hey, I want to meet today, all of a sudden you're putting fear in them. They're like, oh my God, what do I do? What's going on? Where now they're used to it. So they're bringing any questions that they have to the meetings. They stay more positive more often because you're checking in more often. Another thing too is always start with the positive. Always start with what's going well, what's great, and then you can talk about the things that need work in the middle, and then you end on a positive.
Sure.
When you lead that way, people will appreciate that more, and you'll have a lot better team retention because they feel like they actually have that support and not just a manager coming in and checking boxes off.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I guess at some point you had to learn about how to retain the team once you moved into the operations director position, right? So how
Yeah.
did you, I mean, I guess that's one thing that can break. What are some of the other things that like broke first while scaling? What were the big challenges?
Oh gosh. For us, and we've learned this along the way, you got to hire the right people. I mean, the red flags immediately. And, there were times where we would ignore them because we felt that when you feel like you're in a pinch and you feel like your hands are tied, you just got to hire somebody. You hire just to hire. That's the problem. And we've learned that throughout these years, where we just kind of keep a nice little bowl, I would say, people that we've loved, that we've interviewed, and we keep in touch with them just in case the ones that we've hired maybe just didn't turn out to be the way we thought they would be. But
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is start right off the bat with your core values and just see how they respond to them in the interview. Asking them, what drives them, asking them what their will to win is, what their, what their goals are, right? So like I'm trying to, our core values are will to win, close the gap, bring the fire, and action. So it's just asking them like what bring the fire means to them. Sometimes they don't know, what that means until you start explaining it to them. Every day you come in with energy, right? You're ready to, hit the day. You got all the drive. You want to hit your goals. You want to hit all of that. But off the bat, like that's been a game changer for us, is you have to talk about the core values and how they feel like they fit in too. It's got to be mutually beneficial. And I feel like we were just fighting fires before and just trying to get anybody, and we would want to beg them to come work for us. Where the game has shifted for us a little, where we have a lot of people reaching out to us on LinkedIn. Hey, if there's ever a regional role or whatever role, I would love to be a part of it. Doctors reaching out to Dr. Hughes. So it's kind of cool to see the shift. And a lot of it is because he's all over LinkedIn talking about the company and the culture too.
Yeah. And is, I guess, networking communication, is that part of closing the gap? Or I'd love to
Oh
hear.
yeah, I think close the gap for everyone is different, right? If you're a front desk or you're me and like director of operations, my closing the gap is different. Like my closing the gap is centralizing RCM. My closing the gap is how much of that can I take off the front so I don't have a stack of checks just sitting on the counter waiting to be put into the PMS system. You know what I mean? These
Yeah.
aren't checks, but yeah.
Hypothetical.
It's yeah, it's that. It's like, what can I do to streamline? What can I take off of their plate so that they can focus more on that patient experience?
Yeah. But and so obviously you're setting up systems worked with the first practice, right?
Hmm.
But inevitably, based on location or what teams are there and what's already set up, there's got to be some flexibility as well, right? Or
Yeah,
like,
I think it just depends on it. Like, yeah, I mean, everybody goes through a learning process. Everyone goes through that. Everybody's going to have hiccups. There's going to be some wins and some losses. It's just what you do with it and how much, like, the accountability you take is what we look at. Like, if you made a mistake, okay, and I've shown you that 5 times already, but what can I do to, like, help you retain this, right? Like, what do you need from me to help you retain this information? Because it's so important. We're
yeah,
always giving that opportunity. And I think for us is if you're a good person and you're kind and you have the drive, we're always willing to give the opportunity because man, that kindness and all that beats someone who just knows how to run a report and put checks in all day.
Yeah.
I want a good person. Good people, you want good people at the front because those are the ones that the patients are going to like and going to want to come and talk to. And they're going to feel like family when they
Yeah.
come into the office.
Well, what about, is there any kind of common thread you see to motivate when you're like, all right, we're giving you opportunity because we believe in you, right? But then what's like a great motivator that's worked more universally?
Money. Money, incentives. We tie incentives to certain things. If we have an expectation of them to be at this, a certain percentage at collections or whatever that is, patient AR now that, insurance is taken care of, then we'll tie an incentive to it.
Yeah.
Tie an incentive to, phone conversions. You tie an incentive to that. People like the money, especially nowadays. That's like, you're working hard. Here's what we're giving you for that.
Well, and this is a benefit of the DSO model, right? Where you're able to support a new practice or practice that's slower in
Yeah.
production. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's a great point. Okay,
Yeah.
well, there you go. It's
Yeah.
not such a big bad word right? Because
Well,
the employees are getting taken care of.
money, yeah. Like
Um,
I said, I don't work for free. Do you?
right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I guess how, other than incentives though, as far as like keeping with the vision, is there something like culturally that help the clinical staff and front desk staff make them feel like they're part of something bigger because they are?
As far as like company wide and things like that.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of them, they don't get to see the boss that often, but
Right.
when they do, that's huge because he'll continue to talk about the vision of the company. I think people want to feel included on things. They want that is inclusivity. And when you include them and you tell them we want you to be here for the long run, we want you to be here for years to come. What are some things that you would like to see? And for some things are different for everybody, right? Their motivation is different. Some people, yeah, I just want more of an incentive. I want a raise. I want this. I want that. Some people want more vacation time, more PTO time. And team members love that. I recently had a hygienist ask for like a monthly massages. She didn't want to raise, but she would love to get monthly massage, because
Yeah.
their hands and things like that. But we're always asking them, what motivates them. We have this like page that's called celebration page. So
Yeah.
if it's like their birthday or anything that they would like, if we had a contest or just celebrating anything, and they put on there what they like, Starbucks cards, things like that, and we'll work those into just different things that the team members do. Every practice manager does something different too for their girls. Even if it's like some people just like potlucks, bringing in food and they all just want to sit together in the break room, in the lunchroom. It's really up to them and what motivates them and keeps them that way. There's no one thing that I say that we do and that works across the board because we're talking about people.
Yeah.
You're talking about humans. Every person is different.
Yeah.
We're in the people business. Just like the same thing, there's something different that motivates a patient to do get the work done that they need or to get them to come in. For some of them, they don't want to know the number or they don't care about the number. So it's like, how quickly is this going to be? Everybody values something different.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great point. I mean, we've talked about kind of back end operations and what your
Yeah.
role is, the secret
Hmm.
sauce. But
Yeah.
as far as like quarterly check ins or following
Hmm.
up and digging into what people need to show up for the patients,
Yeah.
what are the touch points that you have with the patient experience that is unique across Vision Dental?
So the quarterly check-ins usually come with like a little bit of homework.
Hmm.
So every quarter is different in what Jason prepares. Sometimes we'll just ask about their office and how they feel culture is in their location and maybe like how they feel about their practice manager to where like their practice manager is not going to know, things like that. Sometimes it's what would you like to see more of in your practice? What are you lacking? If you could upgrade something, what would that be? Just anything. What do you need in support of us? Do you feel like you're getting enough support from, management team, from like, Vision Dental Partners? Because all of our practices have different names, and then Vision Dental Partners is the management team that manages them. But what else would you like to see? What do you need more of? So we're always asking them. And I feel like I said, inclusivity is huge because they want to feel like they're a part of something. And if they have an opinion, they have a say. But the nice thing is every quarter it's different. Doesn't mean they're going to get a raise every single quarter because, I mean, who's giving a raise out every quarter? But they know they're going to be heard and all their questions are going to be answered. But there's always something that we're asking to help them improve. And then there are times where we'd be like, and what areas do you feel like you've improved in on?
Yeah.
Where do you feel like you have improved, and where do you feel like you need work? And
Sure.
there's always going to be something. And what's funny is like people are very, very honest. And sometimes they're so honest where we're like, no, you're like, you excel in that area. Why'd you give yourself a 2? You do great in that. And
Yeah.
sometimes just even that like positive feedback, those are people that stay for a long time. We have a hygienist that's been with us for 18 years.
Wow. Yeah.
And that was before me.
Right.
That was with Dr. Hughes. That was when, like, I think she started as soon as Dr. Brad bought the practice. She's been like in that practice for that long. She's been in practice for over 18 years. It's crazy.
Wow.
Long time working with, the same company, and we've just grown. So
Yeah.
it's cool to see that. And I'm, 12 and a half years. I have people that have been for 9, 8, 7. I mean, just a long time. And there's some offices you buy where you have a whole entire team, 2 months later. You
Sure.
just, you never know what you're going to get. But I think involving them on what they would like to see or where they're at in their career has been huge to keep the culture and just morale up,
Yeah.
and you may not keep them all based off of those reviews, but every quarter instead of once a year.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
and you're acknowledging they're human, right?
Exactly.
So how
Yeah.
does that translate to the patient experience, right? I mean, with DSOs, oftentimes you hear that you lose some of the human touch or makes it
Hmm.
feel more corporate. So what are some messages maybe in marketing to acquire new patients, or as soon as they walk in the door and do a consult or something, what are some of the ways that you humanize that experience for the patient?
I don't know if you've looked at any of our social media. It's all each individual team. They're doing funny things. They're asking doctors questions about the location, the area, what are the best restaurants in the area. Some areas there's only like a Subway, but like everybody had the same. But it's just getting to know your doctor and the team and who you're going to see when you come in. I think the biggest thing is sometimes you tend to lose touch with that, patient experience, or that is the fact that like the person they talk to on the phone isn't the person they see when they walk in. And the model that we're doing is not easy, and I get it. And yes, there is a time and place to add technology and all of that. But if you're focused on that patient experience and being that private practice feel, the technology will take away from that. So you have to be really careful on how much you add. Have we added? Yes. But it doesn't take away from that patient experience. And when they talk to Tammy at the front desk in the one location, they're going to see Tammy when they
Yeah.
walk in.
Right.
When they come in, they're going to see that personal side and that fun side of the doctors because we put them on social media all over. Patients are always looking on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok and all of that, and they're going to see that office, that team. They're not going to see someone in suits and doing all of that in the practice, and they're going to see that doctor when they go in there. And I think that's been the biggest, another one of the biggest game changers for us is when Dr. Hughes says we're a media company that happens to do dentistry. If you look at our social media, that's all that it is.
Yeah.
We're making that doctor, that rock star in that community. It's
Sure.
not, Dr. So and so is, all over our website. No, they're on their own individual websites. And you see that real, when your practice manager in the office, she's on the video. Your
Yeah.
assistant's on the video. Your hygienist is on the video. That's where that's the only way you're going to be able to, you know, give that personal touch is by, social media. Postcards not going to tell you anything. It's a bunch of stock photos on there, right? It's
Yeah.
going to tell you what insurance companies you're in network when, in network with, not the personality of the doctor. You want
Right.
that, that likability factor before they even walk into the door.
Yeah. Well, what about after hours, right? Because you can't get humans to work.
Oh no, yeah.
So, do you have you worked with call centers or AI voices or any automation?
No, so we do have like an after hours emergency line, I would say. On Fridays, our girls take it home, so they're always talking to them for emergencies. So emergencies, new patients, but anything else, it'll be on the next working day. But like new patients are just call another office down the street. But our girls do take the home because we're open Monday through Thursday. Like normal hours.
Yeah.
Fridays we do have that, or sometimes we do have a call center that's trained, and patients know certain call centers for that, and it's all emergencies. They take care of any of the emergencies or anything like that. But that way, if we have a patient in pain, anything like that, they're going to see someone from our team still. It won't be a different team on that. But you
Okay.
always want to make sure that you're available. So there is that. aspect of it. But when they call in, hey, this is the after hours emergency line for so and so and so, either please leave your name and number or somebody answers.
Yeah. And is
Yeah.
there something maybe like a commonality that you have in the script for the call center versus the front desk when they walk in or answer the phone there? Like, is there
No, it's the
some
same.
theme?
It's the same
Okay.
verbiage.
Yeah.
Yep. Same
And
verbiage and everything. So they know they answer, Hughes Dental Group, this is so and so, how may I help you? And if they say I want to change my appointment, then that's when the gala guy will announce this is actually the after hours emergency line. I'd be happy to take a message for you for when so and so is on the back in the office, or if it's an emergency, please give me your name and number. We're going to reach out to the to doctor, because it's always the on-call doctor is always going to be our doctor in that office or
sure.
an assistant, and I will get back to you as soon as I can have a time for them to schedule you to come in. And usually it's same day or next day. I have girls and doctors are going on Saturdays. Dr. Hughes was just here like last Friday seeing a patient. So that's one big thing that when I first started working for him, I didn't know a lot about dentistry. I only knew about ortho. And one of the things that I respected about him is we don't turn away pain patients at all, period. We'll even try to go in and see if it's a new patient in pain. We'll try to go in and see them because, I mean, that's our job as providers to take care of those patients instead of turning them away and saying, well, I don't have time for you today. I have a fully booked schedule. No, we'll squeeze you in. You might have to wait, but we'll still see you.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I really respected about him, was that he was just like, pain, you get him in and you find a time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is there any messaging or something that you teach the teams when somebody says, "Hey, I am in pain. Like I'm calling after hours. I'm in pain."
Yep.
Like how do you like what's the best response to that?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so glad you called. We're going to take good care of you. If it is after hours, this is after hours. Let me go ahead and call Dr. So and so. I'm going to see if we can come in and take care of you today. What's your availability? And sometime, anytime I'll get in, whatever. Okay, let me call doctor and I'll call you right back.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what we do.
Yeah, helping them as quickly as possible.
Yep. And if for some reason that doctor's out of town, we have other doctors, company offices around the area that the patient will see. So it'll always be one of our doctors that will see that patient. If it's like a temporary that came off or something like that, they'll see an assistant, but
Right.
we will always like take care of them, and a doctor will always go in. In fact, the emergency line number after Friday goes to the doctors, so they answer the phone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. After Fridays, the calls go to the doctors.
So it seems like that's working, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are all the doctors like avoiding burnout and feeling connected to their families and after work life
I
as
mean, they
well?
work 4 days a week.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
They
and they're
don't work,
incentivized.
as we continue to grow and hire more doctors, they'll work a different schedule too. So they'll
Yeah.
always, there's no, we don't work, we don't have our doctors working 6 days a week. I mean, unless they want to. I mean, there have been some like, I want to work. I'm like, okay, that's up to you. Like,
Yeah.
we're not telling you you have to do that, but we have doctors who will do that.
Yeah.
They work different schedules, but they're only working 4 days a week,
So
eight
what
hour days at most.
I mean, you're obviously excited about all this, Mikhail. Like
Yeah.
what excites you most like moving forward and as you continue to scale, like what's the most exciting part getting you into the office and working with the teams?
I'm gonna go use Dr. Hughes's words, and he said this multiple times. His goal is to build the best damn dental company there is, and I feel that way. I'm excited about that, but I think there's one of the biggest things is we focus on leadership and not management. There's a difference between the two. Managers are someone people report to. Leaders are someone people follow.
Hmm.
I think that you got to lead by example. I can tell you how to do something, but if I'm never done it or I'm not in the weeds, why would you listen to me? You might know a better way to do it. But like, I'm in the office, like I'm literally like, there's some aging reports that I've been working on for the team. And
Yeah.
I'm in an office and I'm doing that and I'm showing them how to, teams work better. I have them in the meetings. I'm doing all this stuff. I'll go run a front desk. I'll answer the phone. I'm still doing all of that. I think it's when you lead by example, there's more respect and more people will want to follow you. I'm not
Right.
just telling people what to do. I'm leading them, I'm showing them, I'm coaching them, and I'm doing it with them.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of tools coming to the market too with technology,
I
right?
know, I'm
So
so excited. There's so
okay.
many things that are going to help
And
streamline it. Yeah.
what do you see first?
Centralizing RCM is huge. There's still little fine tweaks that I'm working on, but my main objective with my guy who's heading up that, with me is, and I told him this the other day, I was like, I want to build the best RCM like platform that I can. I want to centralize insurance like nobody's business, and I want it to be completely off of the front desk because
Yeah.
I want their main focus to be on that patient. And yeah, they'll still work with, a patient, AR. I'm not going to hire, a company for that. I'm going to keep it in office because you still have that personal touch. But the insurance part of it, I have a whole team, but that's all they do is work on it day in and day out. It's less stress for the girls up front, where they're like, oh my God, my aging is getting out of control. Michel's going to call me or whatever, or my regional's going to call them. But that's my main objective. And I have still little fine tweaks, on it, but I'm so excited because eventually when I'm there, which I'm almost there, I'm going to share that with everybody. I'm going to share it. Like, we don't gatekeep. I'm going to share on LinkedIn how I did it and what I'm doing and how this has worked for us. I have already a lot of it done, but I
Cool.
know there's always some fine tweaks to it. But like, just like Dr. Hughes, we don't gatekeep anything. He tells all the secrets. It doesn't matter what it is because you already know as a percent, a high majority of them are not going to do it anyways. But
Yeah.
it's like, we're being super transparent about who we are and our wins and our losses, and I think that that's a big deal when like we did this wrong for so long that now we know how to do it right.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
so is obviously getting excited about tools to help with the system and everything.
yeah,
If this was your quarterly report or something, you're looking back at this huge growth phase.
yeah.
What do you hope someone would say about your leadership?
Gosh, what would I hope someone would say about my leadership? I mean, I don't want to sound like I have an ego, but I would like want them to say she was always available. She was always there to support. If I needed her, she was a phone call away, a text away. And I even tell all my girls, if you need me, just text me. If I can't answer the phone, but text me and I will get back to you. I'm always available. It's not like people get a hold of me on Saturdays or Sundays, but sometimes they do. But I'm always there and I'm always there to help. I go into the offices all the time. I think it's huge to when you're building a company like this and culture is a big deal, you need to show up and you need to be in the offices, not just some like, oh, I guess there is a Michal somewhere. I don't know who she is. Where 99% of the people know me unless they're new and I haven't met them yet.
Yeah.
But I will meet them. I think that's being in the company is huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Physical presence. Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's the same with Dr. Hughes. He just literally got out of the chair not long ago, and he's making more of a presence in the office because he couldn't, because he worked in chair 4 days a week, trying to run the business and work in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the recipe for a lot of long hours.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, and then
so
you'll get burnt out that way for sure.
yeah,
But
yeah,
now
and
he can focus on the company. I feel like he's more busy now than when he was in the chair because now I'm like, what are you doing? I can't even get a hold of you.
yeah. Well, he seems excited too. I mean, after
Yeah.
mastering one
Yeah.
thing, you're like, wait, how do I continue to provide this service? And he's a teacher, right?
Yeah.
Like you
Oh
said,
gosh, he loves it. And he's
yeah,
good at it too.
yeah.
He's
Well,
really good at it.
what was something that he told you or taught you maybe 6 years ago when you were getting ready to scale up, or what would you tell yourself looking back? Let's say somebody's in your position that their
Yeah.
boss comes to them and they said, hey, we want to scale to multiple locations, multiple practices, and like I would have kind of deer in the headlights kind of thing. But looking
Yeah.
back, what would you say to that person? Like, how would you motivate them or get them prepared for what's to come?
My situation is going to be different because I kind of work side by side with him, like just in that one practice for 6 years. And I think for me, the reason why I said yes is really early on, he saw leadership in me that I didn't see. No, I'm a follower, not a leader. I literally said that all the time. And now I just want to like, hit myself for that. I'm like, why did you say that? But I didn't know what I didn't know either.
Yeah.
And early on, and I was always like, nah. He's like, yeah, like think about it. Everyone goes to you for everything because you get stuff done. Patients specifically call for you. Patients hug you. Team members hug you like everybody loves you. They know you're going to help and they know you're going to do this. They know you're going to figure it out no matter what it is. And I'm like, that's because I'm a nice person. And he goes, no, you're a leader.
Hmm.
And if it wasn't for him seeing that in me, like sometimes, the saying is true, like someone to believe in you is huge. And it's not that I didn't believe in myself, it's just I didn't know I had those capabilities.
Yeah.
And then when he saw that in me, it just made me like want to work harder. Like it gave me some motivation to be like, well, if you saw that, I can do this too. And
Yeah.
like, let me show you what else I can do that I didn't know I could do either. But it was definitely the fact that like I was willing to say yes because he already believed in me for that. And I thought, oh my God, well, if he believes, man, yeah, I want to do this. I could do this too. And that shit was hard. It is hard. But you figure it out as you go. But it's definitely, it's always challenging. There's always going to be a challenge. I'm always going to work hard because there's always going to be something I feel like I could maybe upgrade or do better for my team, not just for the practices, the teams there, but just for my Vision Dental Partners team.
Yeah.
Dr. Hughes always says no one's going to outwork me like him. And I'm like, maybe I will. This is your fault. But
So
yeah,
then
I
where do you
think,
take it
yeah, for me, it's
from here?
different. What's that?
Where do you take it from here? I mean, everything seems to be working. The pulse is high, and the systems are in place. So what's next for you in Vision Dental?
Take on more practices, continue to grow.
Yeah.
Those are always going to be a challenge. New doctors, new team members, new practice managers, new everything.
Yeah.
I'm currently onboarding a regional manager who's, because I was doing, all of it. I was being regional and director, and it's hard you can't fully be director when you're being regional too. But she's, taken on a lot as well. And she says, she wants to be like me when she grows up. It's funny because she's already grown up, but I take some like pride in that. And it makes me feel good that people do say they want to be like me, and it's not because I'm a leader, because and I'm nice. I mean, I think I'm pretty nice for the most part, but continue to grow people, continue to, if people want opportunity, that'll be me as well. If I have more, I'm going to have to onboard eventually more regionals. I'm part of that. I'm leading them. I'm growing more leaders. I mean, that's one thing that I'm really passionate about is it's my job to grow more leaders too. So as we continue to grow, there's just so much more that we're going to be able to do. So much more technology is going to come out that's going to help us streamline things. And I'm excited to learn more about that. I mean, PMS systems, it's insane how much stuff is coming out that's just going to help with that so that we can continue focusing on what we do, being a media company that just happens to do dentistry, being that private practice feel for our patients, making our doctors the rock stars in their communities, and just continue to build more leaders.
Yeah, I love it. Well, if
Yeah.
people want to find you or hear more about your story or Dr. Hughes, how do they do that?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn, or I mean, I'm on LinkedIn. Or my, Michal at visiondentalpartners.com. That's pretty easy. They can reach out to me, email me. I have, I'm more than happy to meet with people. I've met with so many different people just to have connections, and I love that. I've gotten some, given them business based off of connections, which is awesome because you just never know who you're going to meet. And that's the exciting thing too, is I'm going to meet so many more people throughout my career
Yeah.
that's an exciting thing for me. I've met you.
Yeah, I know. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I met you, so I'm just excited about what's to come.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Hey, Mikhail, thanks for your time today. It's been a blast having
Absolutely.
you on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome.